Hello everyone! You know what? I've been doing this countdown video thing for a while, and I haven't even touched on stuff that I actually like. Well, that ends today. Well, I'm quite the RPG connoisseur, and RPGs so happen to be my favorite kind of games. Today, I'll talk about one particular RPG that means a lot to me. Persona 4. Such a quirky little title this game is. It's got so much going for it. The unique game style, no random encounters, a crafting system that actually makes a lot more sense than this, a beautifully addicting soundtrack, a silent protagonist who actually has a personality, a dynamic and fun battle system, voice acting that doesn't make me want to shoot myself, and a deep and meaningful story and plot that pertain to the more philosophical aspects of the concepts of identity and truth, among other reasons. Because this game is that damn good to me, today I'll be listing down my favorite moments in this gem of an RPG. So get ready, cause the bear puns will be coming. Aw yeah, sweet! A camping trip that you spend most of the time cleaning up the forests. Oh, well, it's not all bad. The fresh air will do you good. And you get to eat some food made by your pretty fellow female companion. Oh yum, that looks tasty! Let's have a taste. I kid you not. The very first time I saw this, I rolled off of my bed laughing. Oh, but it's not over yet. At night, inside our hero tent, there's some tension in the air, if you know what I mean. And that, of course, unsettles poor Yosuke. Dude, you're a man! Time to get grizzly with it! Rawr! And on the girls' side, they're having some trouble falling asleep with Sleeping Beauty snoring.
I'm on a diet right now.
The next morning, they try to go for a dip in the river before leaving. But the girls ain't having none of that, cause they didn't bring a bathing suit. Good thing Yosuke came prepared. Yeah, that's right, Yosuke. Guilt trip them to do your bidding.
But you're girls! You can't cook? You won't get naked? What are you even good for?
Well, he has a point.
Unfortunately, Kanji's very special reaction to that godly sight gets the male cast a push to the freezing cold river, where moments later they are blessed with Muraoka's vomit. And all this in just one weekend. Oh, the hilarity is almost too much to contain. These poor bastards just can't get a break. From the get-go, this game was able to reel me in completely. The first few hours just draw you into life in Inaba, with you meeting your family, your new school and your friends, with the introduction of the mystery of the Midnight Channel, and the corpse of a dead reporter hanging upside down from an electrical post. You know, the usual stuff. And let's not forget the most mundane thing ever. Gaining the ability to phase through TVs and land in a strange alternative foggy world filled with mentally disturbing imagery and creepy looking monsters that want to kill you! And that, for some weird reason, has a living, breathing teddy bear who lays off awful bear puns, but also wants your help to clean up the place. Not only do these first few hours allow the player to get the feel of what you'll be up against, but they also set the beginning of the plot as you try to tackle a supernatural murder investigation while trying to maintain a normal life. This sort of presentation is not found on many games, and honestly, I'm glad the Persona series doesn't take itself too seriously. The Final Fantasy school of storytelling has become unbearable in recent years. It seriously needs to learn a bit more from other game series, and the Persona series delivers in the story department. It's a great start to a great game. Ah, the Culture Festival. A happy time to kick back and unwind. Just have fun with your friends and have weird, awkward and embarrassing conversation with your schoolmates. But hey, look, the school holds a pageant contest, which our heroines are forced to participate. Yosuke, my man! Oh, but this time around the girls get some revenge. The guys then are made to participate in their own pageant. A cross-dressing pageant. Payback's a bitch, guys. This whole ordeal with the pageant is just pure comedy gold. The reaction from both the audience and the participants is just too genuine and fitting. Even Teddy comes in to steal the show in full-on drag. And he makes quite the catch, I might add. Honestly, it isn't hard to figure out why on every playthrough I make of this game, the Culture Festival is definitely one of my most anticipated moments. It's too hilarious not to like. From very early on in the game, Yosuke will be your best bud, since you guys have so much in common, like both being originally from the big city, you both are trying to adjust to a new life, and you're both trying to solve a murder case. With these, you'll be inseparable as the best amigos that you are. The best manly amigos.
No homo. Yes. No homo indeed.
Ahem. As I was saying, you two develop a strong relationship, which only grows stronger once you start investing some time to maximize Yosuke's social link. By the time you max it out, you'll come to understand him better, about his issues with the girl he liked that got killed, how he looks up and admires you, but also secretly is jealous of you. And to get it out of his system, you duke it out like true bros would, you know, cause that's what regular rational folk do. And then after the punch out, peace. You gain a new understanding of each other, and also a newfound sense of respect for each other. This type of scene is just heartwarming, and shows what true friendship is made of. Heck, it's so good, it's one of the few scenes that made it to the anime version of Persona 4. Yosuke, don't ever change, bro. Oh, Teddy, Teddy, Teddy. Oh, you funny little grizzly you. Every moment with this guy is purely awesome and a laugh riot. I can't pick a single individual moment with Teddy, so I'll just include him as a moment himself. This pervy and cheesy bear is just too essential to not include in this list. I'd be lying if I'd say Teddy isn't one of the reasons why I play Persona 4 over and over again. I'll be damned if he's not one of the characters that gets the most character development in this game, and it comes to pay off. From his one-track mind to his cheesy jokes and perverted advances to the female cast, the clash with his own shadow self, the inner conflict he goes through due to his existential doubts, and the relationship he develops with the main character and Nanako just help to bring out one of the most original, fun, and loved characters I've seen in a long while. I love you, Ted. Keep chasing tail, you furry bastard. So we reach the top 5, and we start with a moment that is very personal to me, Kanji's acceptance of himself. Kanji hides this side of himself where he feels uncomfortable to share his more emotional side, since people look at him and thanks to narrow-mindedness and stereotype, they only see what they want to see and not what is really there. The fact that Kanji's shadow self shows this sort of open affection towards men doesn't mean he's homosexual. Quite the opposite, actually. Kanji merely shows interest in those who have an interest for himself, and be they men or women. His shadow self simply adopted the shape of the side that yearns for the attention from men. When Kanji finally accepts his side of himself, a huge weight is taken off of him, and peace of mind remains, where rejection and negativity used to linger. I know this because at the time when I first played Persona 4, I was struggling with feelings I didn't think I should be having on my own. But this scene shook me up to have a serious one-on-one talk with myself, and I came to accept my bisexuality. What? You heard me right. I am bisexual. And if it weren't for this game, today I might have become one of those still in the closet self-hating people. In fact, knowing myself the way I do, I'm sure that'd be the case. This scene could also be included with Naoto's since it brings up the gender role and gender equality debate, but to avoid feminazis invading my videos and for some simple personal and emotional impact, I prefer this moment. Whew, man, that was a doozy. Too much feels up in this video. Time to let in some laughs to brighten up the list. Speaking of which, this scene where the whole gang goes on a field trip to the exact place of the events of Persona 3, you get to experience a nostalgic scenery and even meet up with characters from the previous game. It was a nice touch from the developers to tie in their two most popular games like this. And then comes nighttime, where we go to the same disco joint from Persona 3, where you get to chillax, have some fun, and then things get really awkward, since Yukiko, Rise, and Teddy started getting a bit too tipsy, and demand that everyone plays the King's Game. In this game, everyone thinks
one chopstick makes you the king if you draw it, and the others have numbers on them. The king picks the number and says what that person has to do. But who has which number is a secret until the king gives the orders.
And the person with the number must do it, because
the king's order is absolute!
And so begins the hilarity. From Teddy forcing himself on Kanji, to Rise and Yukiko wanting to escalate things to an almost sexual standard, things just get ridiculously comical. Oh, but that's not the best part. Have you noticed how there's only 3 drunks in a room filled with people? Yeah, that's cause those are soft drinks. As in, no alcohol in them. Which means these 3 got drunk off of the atmosphere. Seriously? What the hell? Are these guys for real? I never laughed so much in my life the first time I saw this. And to this day, I easily crack up whenever I remember this scene. This is, without a doubt, the most controversial moment in Persona 4, Nanako's fate. Nanako quickly becomes one of the characters for whom you care the most in this game, even though she's an NPC. She looks up to you and loves you as if you were her real brother. And almost at the end of the game, she's kidnapped by the person that you think is the real murderer, Namatame. And then you and Detective Dojima swiftly give chase to him. But when you reach Namatame's truck, they are nowhere to be seen. Namatame had a TV inside the truck, which can only mean one thing. He took Nanako into the TV world. Inside, there you come across what Nanako depicts as heaven to be like, since she lost her mother at a very young age in a car accident, and she yearns to be with her and misses her dearly. Reaching the top of the dungeon, you fight Namatame's shadow, but the damage has already been done. Nanako's body couldn't take the strain from the TV world, and as soon as they leave, they rush her to the hospital. But suddenly, her condition gets worse. You hold her hand and comfort her, but then, the inevitable happens. I have played Persona 4 over 5 times now, and this scene always makes me cry. Killing off a child is always a bold move for any developer, but this is rightfully executed. Since, if you play your cards right when confronting Namatame, Nanako can still pull through with a miraculous recovery, or she can remain dead. It's all up to you. So you busted the true culprit, had justice for the crimes he committed, and battled against the Japanese folklore deity for the future of mankind. But something seems amiss. All this had to have an origin. Namatame, the culprit and the main protagonist, got these powers from where? Or from who? So, on your last day in Inaba, you and the gang go around asking for clues again. Then it starts raining, and you meet with the same gas stand employee whom you met minutes into the game. But who is he? He only shows up on rainy days, and you hardly ever see him. You remember feeling nauseous after shaking his hand when you first moved into Inaba. You ask yourself, maybe he's connected to all of this somehow. And wouldn't you know it, this person is the origin of all of the events that took place. She reveals herself as Izanami, the one shrouded in fog. You then pursue her into the TV world for one last showdown for the fate of mankind. And this fight is truly inspirational. As one by one, your friends are taken out, and only you remain to fight Izanami. And when you fall, the voices of everyone you cherish give you strength to get up and finally beat her and her half-assed sense of truth to the dust with your ultimate power. The reason I picked this for the second spot is because although it is a very memorable moment, this true ending arc feels more like a downgraded extension of the good ending, and the build-up to this moment just feels so barren. Well, if it wasn't obvious enough, the good ending is number one. Why I chose it to be like this is because the entire game leads up to this very moment, and the build-up to this point is incredibly well written and executed. Like Media Master says,
this level has one of the best goddamn build-ups for a final battle I've ever seen!
After questioning Namatame, you find out that he didn't know he was putting people in mortal peril by putting them inside the TV world. Plus, we find out that he wasn't the one sending the warning letters, and his first victim was actually Yukiko, not the reporter who died, which means the real culprit is still at large. So you take a step back, and after collecting some information, you reflect on the evidence that you have. The killer must have had the connection to the reporter and Saki Konishi. He was someone who could walk around without raising suspicion. He was also aware of the group's actions and movements, so he could observe us to some extent. And as you look through the list of suspects, one name sticks out.
Are you listening to all that crap? Me and my big mouth. Don't tell anyone I said any of that, or Dojima-san will flame me alive.
Adachi, how long are you going to act like a rookie? You want to be sent back to the central office?
Even the victims who survived and were never released to the public are written here. I note that Mr. Muraoka's address is absent from the list.
Wow. And that settles it.
Adachi! So, this guy was only playing the goofball detective. In real life, he's only a killer. You confront him about this, but he runs away into the TV world, only proving your point. Over on the other side, you learn that Adachi intends to merge both worlds and fog to extinguish all life. The only thing to do now is to follow him into his lair. Magatsu Inaba I Magatsu Mandala, the most intense dungeons in the game, filled with some of the strongest enemies in the entire game. And in the end, it all comes down to your confrontation with that bastard Adachi and the godly deity behind all this, Ame no Sagiri. But before all that, villainous nihilistic speech!
You don't get anything out of facing reality, and there's no way to change it either. I mean, what could be more boring than brooding over things you can't change? It's better to just ignore them and believe only
I
what
am
you
the one that shepherds humans to their true desires. Though their hearts longed for peace, it could never be attained. So they tore down the wall between image and reality. Humans view things as they see fit. They wish not for truth, but rather prefer the undesirables be hidden in fog.
It really puts things in perspective for how shallow humanity can be. But he can't break our resolve. The truth led us here, and no matter how cruel the reality might be, it is preferable to a fantasy make-believe illusion. And the end of all of this is oh so satisfying. With incredible build-up, one of the most intense final levels in any RPG, filled with philosophical elements, and with a rewarding and satisfying end, this is my favorite moment in the whole freaking game. This has been the Red Eye Hound, and BURST!
Cause this bear can't bear the world's disdain, and sometimes it's easier to hide than explain our guy love. That's all it is, guy love. He's mine, I'm his. There's nothing gay about it in our eyes.